Have you ever walked through a store and seen art of the super cute and fuzzy cattle? They can be found in popular stores such as Target, Walmart, Kirkland's, and all over the internet. Before these photos made their way into the hearts and homes across the states, let's step back a few years to their origin. This breed of cattle are traced back to Scotland in the late 1800s, beginning as two initial groups called Islanders, also known as Cloes, and Highlanders, which were mostly found on the mainland. Now they are most commonly known as Scottish Highlands.
Outside of Chillicothe, Missouri is a Highland cattle farm called Webb Cattle Company.
I'm Kara Webb with Webb Cattle Company.
And I'm Brad.
How long have you been working with just Highland cattle specifically?
It's been almost 4 years, 3 years, 4 years.
Yep.
Yeah, it's been almost 4 years.
What are the basic needs of a Highland cow?
They're actually really hardy and they don't require much care. They're actually more, they require less than a commercial cow. So they eat things that commercial cows don't really eat. So they're really actually easy to take care of. So as long as they have food and like grass, water, in the wintertime we supplement with hay. We put out loose minerals and like protein and things like that, but that's the same thing we would do for a commercial cow. So they're really not much different than taking care of a regular cow. They're actually probably easier and better for the land because they eat up more of the brush and things like that. So they kind of clear up pastures. So.
Do you have to worry about them getting too hot because of their fur?
We do have to worry about them getting hot in the summertime. The water company will call and say, I think you got a leak, but she's actually got sprinkler systems that we run out underneath the shade trees and just, and then each paddock that we have them in, we try to have some sort of pond in the summertime because they get their cooling from, actually they'll go and stand up to their knees in the water, and that's actually how they get their cooling. So.
And sometimes they'll shed out too, so it just depends on their genetics. Some will shed out slick, so they almost look like a longhorn out there because they don't have any hair, and then some don't shed at all. So those are the ones that we have to have some like deep shade and ponds and things for.
Okay. So are there like certain characteristics that people look for in a Highland cow?
They really focus on the hair coat, but they like for their face to be kind of triangular and a shorter nose, so a shorter muzzle.
Feet, everybody wants good feet.
Yeah.
You want that as a good trait and a good udder.
Yeah. Nice straight back. They want, horns. They like for them to be symmetrical. They like for the cow's horns kind of come up and out, and the bull's horns kind of come down and around. And they like to see that in a male and female, because sometimes you'll get a female that will come down and around, or even a male that will go the opposite way, and that's not a desired trait. So they really, and most people focus a lot on the feet and the udders and the quality of the cow.
Are there any colors that are more like sought after?
So silver it's a rare color, so it's a white Highland with a black nose. And you'll have white Highlands and they have a pink nose. So the silver is the most sought after because it's the rarest. And then I would say white is probably after that. So.
There are several variations of Highlands. The most popular are Highlands with the chrondo-positive gene. This is a dwarfism gene bred into them. This gene brings the size down 2 to 8 inches. These cattle are less than 36 inches tall. At Webb Cattle Company, they crossbreed to ensure these calves have 97% of Highland in them. They strive to have the highest percentage possible in the cattle. The tips of their ears, color of their nose, socks, and coat all can be pretty accurately controlled depending on the crossbreeding. Besides minis, there are mid-sized or medium-sized Highlands bred as well. A couple of cattle at Webb Cattle Company came from the Queen's Fold, which is a group of Highlands owned by the British royal family. Producing the highest quality cattle is very important to them. What is the main reason that people are purchasing them for?
The main reason, I think, the main reason is a lot of people are purchasing them for pets and aesthetics. So, and COVID kind of helped because it pushed a lot of people out into the more rural areas. So people that are homesteaders have 5 acres, 10 acres, they just want a smaller cow and also that's, pretty. but they can milk or just have a couple calves off a year. We do sell a lot of breeding stock too, but we sell to vineyards, wineries, places where, you know, wedding venues where they're pretty and it's just part of the atmosphere. Therapy animals, yeah, they'll use them. Because when they leave our farm, we have them halter trained and tamed, and they're basically like puppies. So you can pet them and scratch them and brush them and give them treats and love all over them. So people buy them a lot for just because they're so tame and socialized. And the Highland breed is known to be docile. So they're very just gentle and loving, and they actually kind of seek out attention. So they're just a little different than the regular cat, commercial cow.
So what is the average price for a calf?
For a calf,
So the average price for a calf is going to range on what it is. So if you get a micro mini, it's going to be up towards the 14 to 20,000. If you get just a mini, which is 36 to 42,
yeah.
it starts about 7,500, 8,500.
That's for a heifer.
Yeah.
Bulls are usually around 5,000, unless you get like a micro bull, then they can be up into the 30,000. So it really just
There's
depends.
pretty good variation.
Yeah, it just depends on the color, the size, if they're able to be registered. That all plays into the price. But their average, I would say, is 7,500, 8,500 for a heifer.
What is the highest someone has paid for a calf?
So we had a set of twins, and it was our first auction, and one of the twins brought 19,500, and the other twin brought 20,000, and that was our highest so far.
So far, yeah, and we've had a couple that have sold in that price, just similar. They want that micro calf, and so they've sold that. We've watched other breeders. We've seen them sell a bull for 70,000.
Several up into the
30s,
30s.
30,000s. Yeah, so there's some breeders out there that really get some really big money for some of theirs. So.
All too often, people only recognize these cattle because of their fur, but there is so much more to these cows than their coats. I hope you found this utterly fascinating, very amusing, and will want to learn even more about these cows.